Here's the second video for this course. In this video, we will just go over and only go over what it is you need to do for this week. Because while I'm giving you the ability to, and again, only those of you who actually did the essay and turned it in last week to do that redo, that is not the only work because we have to move on. Again, this is a 4 weeks course and we get that to week. We have to basically put 16 weeks of material into the 4 weeks. So now I'm going to let you know what it is that we need to do when it comes to this week. First things first, the chapters and the pages in which you need to read. There are two different chapters dealing with the two rhetorical modes that we will get into this week. Chapter 4, Recalling an Experience, pages 58 to 74, and Chapter 5, Observing a Scene, pages 78 to 94. What do these things mean? Basically, the next two rhetorical modes, Recalling an Experience is the narrative rhetorical mode, and Observing the Scene is the descriptive rhetorical mode, because both of them will combine to form the narrative descriptive rhetorical mode essay that you will have due next week, Tuesday at 2:59 a.m. It needs to be at least 900 words. Again, only one of you didn't make the 700-word illustrative essay. So good job as far as the rest of you did at least hit the word count. This one, you add 200 more words. It moves up to 900 words, and it'll keep doing that. It'll move up to 1,100 words for the compare contrast analysis one, and it'll be 1,300 words for the argumentative. So the descriptive narrative essay, 900 words, will be due Tuesday, 2:59 a.m. So get it done Monday night of next week before you go to bed. But before you do that, you need to read the chapters on Recalling Experience, Observing a Scene to get the rhetorical modes as they are, the narrative and descriptive rhetorical modes. As simple as I can put it, you're writing a story. You're telling a story. And my advice when it comes to what you want to write about, again, I will not give you the topic for this one, is to use things in your own experiences in your own life, events that have actually happened, things that have happened to you or those closest to you where you're active part active observer. Notice how that seemed to be a theme last week. Well, it's a theme this week. Only this time you're telling a story. And the purpose behind the story can be to teach a lesson. It can be to promote a cause that you believe in, or quite frankly, it could be just to entertain someone. And don't feel like that's a bad thing. If all you do is entertain me for 10 minutes of my life, well, that's a good thing. Nowadays, we need people who are willing to make people feel better within the world. And therefore, an entertaining work is, well, warranted. But if you want to use this as a means of expression to express one's own ideals or a lesson that one has learned through the story itself, by all means, that's fine as well. Also note that there will be dialogue in this because you're writing a story. This is a narrative, and therefore you need dialogue. You need at least 5 strong lines of dialogue. You can have more if you want, between at least 2 characters, although there can be more characters obviously involved. And that includes all the prior issues, or prior, not issues, but you know how before, of course, you need to have at least 5 strong sentences per paragraph and 5 strong paragraphs and meet 700 words. Well, this one's going to be 900 words. You still need to have at least 5 strong paragraphs with at least 5 strong sentences each, but you also must have 5 strong lines of dialogue that is separate from those, which is probably fine anyway because you need to have 900 words, so it kind of works. You're going to go above and beyond what we have, either more paragraphs or stronger paragraphs in beyond what I've told you, or more lines of dialogue beyond what I've told you, and that's more than good as long as you at least hit that 900 word minimum. You can always do more. One of you doubled up. It actually saved you because one of you had 25, exactly 25 dings on you, which would cost you normally all your points. But because you wrote double, I cut those mistakes in half, and you only lost 12 mistakes. So you end up with losing 16 points. Saves 16 32. That's a huge difference. So, but at least meet the minimum of what's asked. Of course, with this one, it's 900. Write a story, and then use descriptive language throughout the story to sell the story, because there's a lot of narration in the descriptive elements and a lot of descriptive elements in a narration. You need to have that visual setup or sensory detail setup to help move the story along. You can either have it be purely, when it comes to the descriptive side, purely visual if you want, but then use space order, basically moving from one side to the other, up, down, left, right to left, however, or maybe cut it down into boxes if you want, but in a certain logical space order. Or you can utilize all the sensory detail as a means of describing the story. What did the person, or what it was seen, what was heard, what was smelled, what was tasted, what was physically touched, and what was emotionally touching to the person. And yes, If you have the emotional feels, I know that's an argument I've actually gotten with students about emotional feeling and how, catching feels has such a negative connotation. We wonder why we have such issues today with our ability to see each other as human beings and as people in groups. God knows the issues of the last couple of months, no matter what was being dealt with. And yet we have the ability to not want to see each other as individuals when it comes to catching those feels about actually caring about someone as an individual. How do you square that? How do you square that you don't want to feel for an individual and then feel bad when people don't feel for whole groups of people? We need to learn how to have that emotional feeling towards it and to read it and to feel. It hurts like hell sometimes. You need to be able to have it. So if that is there within your story, you need to write about it. Use that detail as much as you use the regular 5 senses. And you don't have to use all of them. Sometimes a certain sense doesn't work with something. Taste sometimes doesn't work with everything. Also, you might not have all 5 senses. And so therefore, if you're someone who is deaf and you can't hear things, that's fine. You don't have to write from that perspective if you don't have that perspective. Totally fine if that's fine too, if that's the way it is. Just use whatever sensory detail you can if you want to go in that direction. But it must work within the realm of the story itself. So you're really merging both too. So obviously make sure you read both chapters and then merge those experiences together. Because again, you'll note within the chapters how descriptiveness plays into how to tell a story and how a story plays into showing the visual elements or showing the sensory detail elements. There's also another chapter, chapter 33, which deals with evaluating sources. That's the chapter that has nothing to do with this essay, but has, along with the chapters from last week, everything to do with the argumentative. Again, with the tightness of this type of course, I have to have you go ahead on certain chapters that have nothing to do with the essays of that week, simply because we don't have time. I mean, I could pile all those essays and chapters, or all those chapters in on the last week, but you'd really not be happy with me. So that's why I'm kind of trying to break it up for you. So make sure you read chapter 33, which deals with evaluating sources. It's only 7 pages. It's fine. 7 or 8 pages, actually. And then also read these 2 pages on page 180 and 181, and that deals with logical fallacies. This also, I mean, it should deal with in general life, but in particular, this is also one of those chapters that really deals with the argumentative essay. And I'm a big proponent of this because, unfortunately, and I've learned this way too much in my own job, both as an instructor, but also as a professional within it. Logic is a lost art. God knows social media is completely devoid of logic. I can go off and rant on that, but I won't because I've already got one long-ass video from before. And I can't control what goes on in your personal life or on your Facebook feed or Twitter feed or whatever else. I can control what goes on in your essays. So you need to read those logical fallacies and learn to never do them. Try not to do them in general in life because I'll think of you as a better human being. But you sure as hell better not do it on any essay, in particular in the argumentative. Because any lapsing in the logical fallacies in the argumentative essay when we get to the end of this class, it's immediate 0. Because I can control what goes into your essays. I can't have the ability, well, I can't control what goes into it, but I can control the outcome. 0, click, boom. So make sure you read those 2 pages well and learn about logical fallacies, why they are bad, that they are bad, and that logic has to have a role, at least in a finely tuned argument, hence argumentation. And if at all possible, try to have that be in your real world life, please. So make sure you read those chapters and those 2 pages as I've just noted. Now, there's one other thing. It says, start watching The Great Gatsby 1974. That has nothing to do with this essay, but has everything to do with the next essay. In general, if this was a physical class, I would have you do an analysis, compare, contrast of the 2 Great Gatsby movies, one from 1974 with Robert Redford and one from 2013 with Leonardo DiCaprio. If this was a physical class, I would be showing you these movies in the classroom. Unfortunately, we're not a physical class. When I first started teaching this in an online course, I was able to buy and then post both Great Gatsby movies onto my class. In fact, both are posted under the announcements tab. Unfortunately, not everyone can get it for various reasons. YouTube will block it for some reason. Didn't when I first did it for about 1.5 years. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, it started blocking it. If you're unable to see it through my YouTube thing, I apologize. If you can see it through another means, by all means, do it. If you can't, I'm going to say that it doesn't have to be the 2 Gatsby movies when it comes to the when it comes to the analysis, compare, contrast essay. You can choose two other movies that either are the same exact movie but done two different times, or maybe have different titles but are the same story, basically. I'll even afford you just to let you know, in Word Lit, one of the things that I have them do is do a compare contrast analysis of Shakespeare's play, The Taming of the Shrew, and they watch a actual play performance of Taming of the Shrew, the American Conservatory Theater version, if you want to look for it on YouTube, and it's actually is free, you can find it on YouTube, and do a compare contrast analysis with that and the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. If you have that movie or have access to the movie. Many of you may have access to any and all of these movies if you have a Netflix subscription or Hulu or whatever subscription you might have through other whatever means of you watching movies. Not everybody does, or certain movies are on certain ones. Some you have, some you don't. Because of that, I'm not making you do the Gatsbys unless you can. If you want to do them and you have the ability to do it, that's fine. If you can see it through my YouTube, that's fine. If you can't, you want to do different ones, that's fine. You might want to run by me just to make sure I know that they actually have something to do with each other, not just you doing that for two different movies, because that's a waste. That's not what we're here for. So you might want to run it by me just to make sure it works. But I will afford you the ability to choose those if you would like. There are many other movies that have been done at least twice. In fact, I saw there's two different Annie. The newest version of Annie is on Disney Plus. The original Annie, I saw TCM showed it a couple nights ago, and so therefore, if you have the ability to access that through HBO Max or through the TCM app, you can watch that. So that's another one. There's many others you can try to find. Again, these be two different movies of the same movie. So different, though, again, the two that I have. There was a Great Gatsby performance from 1974 and one from 2013. So there's many other movies that are like that. And then there's certain movies that were maybe given a title here, and then maybe the title was changed, but it was the same movie, or that the second movie was inspired by the first movie or the play or whatever, so long as it's a visual element. So, and I'll go into more detail about that next week, but I just want to make sure. It says start watching Great Gatsby 74. If you don't have access through me or access through any other means, and you don't want to, I mean, it's only a few bucks for rental, but I feel bad making y'all pay something, especially when I have been able to offer it for free. And in general, if you're in a physical class, it is free, but unfortunately, it's just issues with copyright and all that. So I want to be able to save you from having to spend any money when it comes to that. So if you don't want to do the Gatsbys, that's fine, but do run by me which ones you do want to do. And again, you've got till next week to do that, so you've got a little bit of time. So again, for this week, read chapter 4, read chapter 5, read chapter 33, and then read on logical fallacies, pages 180 and 181. Work on the descriptive narrative essay, obviously. It says revision. You don't have to turn in a revision. Basically, what I'm trying to emphasize is, hey, write it and then do a revision, editing, and a proofreading of that essay before you turn it into me so you don't get another bad grade. And then you have the actual work for this week. One I've already told you about. The final copy of the descriptive narrative essay, which is at least 900 words, is due on Tuesday at 2:59. So make sure 2:59 a.m. early in the morning means get it done before you go to bed Monday night. And then the other work is Journal 2. Journal 2 is due Monday at 2:59 a.m. So get that done Sunday night before you go to bed. I'll go ahead and look here to see. I mean, you should be able to look this up on your own, but I'll look it up as well. The theme is winter. Take the broad topic of winter and narrow the focus down to something about winter to what you want to write about. And let me say this. Not everybody did this, but one of you was really egregious with this. One of you had the word water in pretty much every sentence. That's the last thing I wanted. Don't do that. I specifically said in that first video from last week not to tell me the percentage of our bodies is water thing, and somebody specifically did that. If you haven't learned by now, when I tell you something here, I mean it. And you either do what I ask or your grade will reflect it. So take the theme of winter and narrow it down to something about winter in which you would like to write about. Don't say winter, blah, 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 winter, blah, 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 winter, blah, 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 winter, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Nor do I want all these stats and facts and figures about winter. I have to say it again. I'll say it again. If I repeat myself, I don't care, because some of you still are doing things even when I do tell you. So I'm going to keep repeating myself until you did it right. No one facts figure. Winter. Okay. What about your winter experiences down here? If you're from down here, it could be 80 damn degrees. It could be foggy and 50, or it could be 20 with an ice storm. You have your pick down here. You might have ski trips, or you might enjoy in the wintertime, or you want to talk about Christmas vacations, or whatever it is you need to do connected to winter. As long as it's connected to winter, broad topic, you narrow the focus down. You don't do cheap writing devices. Don't have the words sprinkled out through all the things. Do what I ask. So that is what I'm looking for when it comes to journal entry 2. Again, get that done Sunday night before you go to bed because it's due early the next morning. So that is it as far as the work for this week. You have a little more because you do have the ability to do the illustrative essay makeup. And again, for this and only this essay, I will allow those who turned in an essay prior to redo it. If you didn't do it the first time to turn it in, you don't get the chance. Content must remain the same. Note the notes that I made in the comments box, correct the issues noted, but it will make you figure out why it was incorrect. Again, word count, only one of you is short, so only one of you needs to expand on what you already have. The rest use the same content, but clean it up. Edit and proofread, edit and proofread, edit and proofread, revise, edit and proofread. Do all three. Go over the chapter that I've already had you assigned to you to read already. It is going to be a completely new box. Make sure you tune in there, and that box is open until 2:59 a.m. Friday morning, so get it done before Thursday night. And then that is it as far as this week is concerned. It's a lot shorter video, I know, and you should be very happy about that. So hopefully this helps you out. If you have any other questions, email me. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, some of you are emailing me, but you're waiting until way too late in the evening to do it. And if you're expecting me to answer you at like 10 something at night, hell, if you're expecting me to answer you at 4 something in the afternoon, right now I'm about to turn this off, answer what I need to do, and then I'm done for the day. Because truthfully, I would only, if it was a physical class, be giving 3 hours of my time between the class and the grading of certain things 4 days a week, and that would be it. So if you're expecting me to, at all hours of the night, be able to answer a question, not going to happen. I'll answer it when I get to it, and let's just hope that the answer comes before whatever it is due, i.e. don't wait till the last minute. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you all another time.